Hey YouTube! So I'm going to be doing a film review of The Hangover Part 2, which I went and saw last night, finally. And I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free. If I do say something that has spoilers in it, I will try to let you know before I say it. So yes, The Hangover Part 2. I was really hesitant about this film. I'm not a huge comedy person. I don't really watch a lot of comedies, and when I do, they're more like satire or very dark, kind of dry sense of humor. Which is why I was so surprised when I liked the first Hangover film. I thought it was really smart and funny, and I've watched it several times since it's come out. And when I found out they were doing a sequel to it, I was disappointed because I think I mentioned in a previous video, like I'm not a huge fan of sequels. To me, they usually never work, and they're never really as good as the first. And it was pretty obvious that this film was kind of being made just to make money off the success of the first one, which I don't really like either. And then prior to going into it, I had been reading reviews and coming on YouTube and watching people discuss it, and there was a lot of negativity with it. So I went in with really low expectations, but I didn't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually enjoyed it. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't enjoy it. Um, but I think like one of the main problems that people are having with this film is that the plot is the exact same as the first one, which it is. Um, and I don't know, it kind of works in a way like, I get that it was supposed to be intentional. Like I've watched interviews with Todd Phillips, the director, and with the cast, and they all made it perfectly clear that they wanted to kind of make it the same as the first one. So I get that it was part of kind of the larger joke of the film, and it was a bit humorous because they're stuck in the same situation again. However, I don't know, it just lost the charm that the first one had. And one of the things I really liked about the first one was that it was a comedy, yes, but it was also like this mystery story, and they didn't really have that in this one because you knew what was going to happen like throughout the whole thing. So I don't know. I think they could have done more to make it a bit more spontaneous, so that we did know exactly what was going to happen. But I don't know. I can see why they did it. They had a winning formula and they decided to keep it. I don't know. One thing that did surprise me about the film was how dark the humor was. It was a lot darker than in the first one, and they really kind of went over the top with their jokes. Um, and I just got done saying I like dark humor, so I did find a lot of the jokes very humorous. But there were times where like they would make a joke and you could just tell that they were trying to bring it to like the next level, and they were just trying to push like the audience buttons. Like I don't know, there were just times where it was like they were just trying to see how crude they could really be, and it got kind of annoying and distracting at times. But I don't know. And another thing that was different is the jokes were kind of more spaced out in this one, whereas in the first one it was just kind of like joke after joke after joke. And, in this one, like, the audience went about 10, 15 minutes without even laughing, which normally I would like in a comedy, but it felt a bit out of place in this one. I don't know, just something about it felt weird. But as I said, when they did make a joke, it was really funny and everyone laughed. So that was good. Um, Another thing that I know some people were talking about is that they felt the characters were a bit off in this one. I don't know, there was some discussion like how Alan's character was different in this one than it was in the first one. I didn't really see any change in the characters from kind of the first one to the second one. Like I think like one of the arguments was like Alan was mean to the character Teddy, and that was out of character for him, which I don't really agree with. Because it's pretty obvious the reason why he didn't like Teddy. He was afraid that this character was going to come in and steal the only people who he considered his friends, and he has a very childlike mind. So I didn't feel like, you know, it, how children are kind of like possessive of like their things. I didn't really find it out of character that Alan was being possessive of his wolf pack and, didn't like the Teddy character. That's just me. And then, like Bradley Cooper kind of played the same character. He just was the handsome leader that kind of kept a level head through anything. I did like Stu's character a lot in this one, and I felt like his character was kind of the only one that had any character development. He had a lot of bizarre stuff happen to him in this film, but I liked his character, and like I said, I think he was the only one that really kind of developed from the beginning to the end of the film. So I enjoyed seeing that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I really wish that they had included Doug in this adventure. Like, poor Doug. He never gets to do anything fun. Um, like, I felt him and the group would have been interesting to see. And, some of my favorite scenes from the first film are with all four of them, like when they're first going to Vegas. So I was really hoping that he would have been part of this, but he wasn't. And I understand why he wasn't, why he had to kind of stay out of the action so that he could try to postpone the wedding. I get all that. But I think he would have added an interesting dynamic to the film. And it would have been a different kind of dynamic than in the first film. And that would have been really interesting to see, to have, like, the same plot with kind of a different dynamic within the characters. I thought that would have been cool to see. But I don't know, maybe in the next one. I also really liked the cinematography in the film. I thought that Phillips did a really good job of kind of showing the realness and just the grittiness of Bangkok. So yeah, I liked that. There were some really good shots in the film, like on the island and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. But yeah, all in all, I don't think it's as terrible as people are trying to make it out to be. Um, there have definitely been worse sequels than The Hangover Part 2, and sequels are hard to do, like, especially comedy sequels, because you have to try to recapture the magic that the first one had, and that's always not successful. But like I said, this film did make me laugh. I did enjoy it. I found myself rooting for the characters, even though I knew what was gonna happen. Um, so I don't know. If you're a fan of the first one, give it a try. I mean, I think you just have to go into it knowing that you're kind of basically going to be watching the first movie in a different place. But I don't know. So yes, if you've seen the film, let me know what you think. If you thought it was funny, if you laughed, or if you absolutely hated it. I would love to know what people think about this film. So yes, thank you for watching. Bye, YouTube.